Have you been in a situation where you had all the logical insights, but people did not listen? I have. And since then, I've learned that data doesn't change behavior, but emotions do. If data would change behavior, then we would all eat healthy foods and go to the gym at least 3 times a week. But clearly that doesn't happen. And to understand why that doesn't happen, we need to understand how we humans make decisions. And to give a hint, we don't really act rationally. We don't really make our decisions based on data, at least not completely on data. Antonio Damasio, my favorite neuroscientist, found out about the importance of emotions. He researched people with damaged frontal lobes in the brain. And those people were fully functional, except that they couldn't experience any emotions. And to give one concrete example, we're gonna zoom in on Elliot, one of his patients. And Elliot was a charming man. He was married, had kids, was wildly successful in his career. But after the surgery, his life went off track. He couldn't focus, so he spent hours on deciding where to have lunch and which restaurant he wanted to go. But he couldn't make the decision. And unfortunately, Elliot lost his job and eventually divorced his wife. He remarried another woman that his parents and the rest of the family disapproved of. So in short, his life went total off track. And to research why this happened, Antonio Damasio did some tests. So what he did, he showed Elliot some pictures, some gruesome pictures about crazy nature disasters and people in pain. The test results were that Elliot did not show any emotions. Even though he still had superior IQ, he could perfectly line up all the pros and cons of a certain decision, but not eventually make that decision. So the conclusion of Antonio Damasio, based on this research and many other patients, is that we actually need emotions to make our decisions. So they don't just bias us and bring us off course to the right decision, but actually we need them. And that's why as data storytellers we need to be mindful of that. Not only give the data, but also create an emotional connection and stimulate the emotional brain, because that's something I want to talk about. So Antonio Damasio says we are not thinking machines that feel, but instead feeling machines that think. And also Gerald Saltman from Harvard University found that 95% of our purchasing decisions are actually driven by the unconscious mind. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. 95%, isn't that incredible? So that means that even though we think we're very aware and very rational about our decisions when it comes to purchases and other type of decisions, in fact it's not true. And the reason we think we are rational, because afterwards we rationalize our decision. So I know the last time I bought something online, it was not only based on facts, it's also based on emotions. But afterwards, I'm gonna rationalize why it's a good decision, why there are a lot of good reviews, or why the specs are very good of this camera I'm filming the course with right now. But do I really need this camera compared to a slightly cheaper one? I don't know. So in the end of this video, I want to show you this picture. And you see how our brain works. You see on top, the rational brain, responsible for processing data and facts. And on the bottom you see the primal brain, responsible for quick decision making and for processing emotions. Concretely, here is the limbic system, responsible for processing emotions. And we have just seen with the examples of Elliot and other patients of Antonio Damasio that both sides are relevant, both sides are important. So when you're presenting your data, you need to engage both sides of the brain. Yes, of course, include data, it's data storytelling for a reason. But also include stories, because those engage the primal brain. Stories create an emotional connection with you and the audience. So once you have grabbed their attention with storytelling, they will also be able to rationalize why it's a good decision, why your insights matter, and why they need to take action instead of just saying, well, pretty nice insights, and then go to the next meeting. I started this video by talking about logical insights, and after I talked about why you need to engage people on an emotional level. And that's the paradox. Often people need to be emotionally engaged before they can see why your insights are indeed so logical. To quote a famous author when it comes to data storytelling and data visualization, Stephen Few, who said, "Your numbers have an important message to share, but they rely on you to give them a clear and convincing voice." In the coming chapters, I'll tell you in detail how you can convert your insights into a compelling data story that will engage people on an emotional level. See you then.